In a country built on history, filled with battles, legends, and buried secrets, there are those who swear they've seen what should not exist. From abandoned prisons and Civil War fields to suburban homes and lonely highways, ghosts appear without warning, changing lives forever. These are not campfire stories. These are first-hand accounts. Real people, real fear, real hauntings. Tonight, we reveal 30 of the most chilling real-life ghost encounters in the United States. Each story backed by testimonies, investigations, and eerie evidence. So turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself for what might be the most unsettling hour of your life. Story 1. The Ghost of Gettysburg. One of the bloodiest battlefields in American history. Locals say even now, soldiers still march across the fields at night. In 2001, a group of tourists were filming the fields when strange mist began forming shapes. The footage shows human-like figures in uniform, walking, vanishing, without ever touching the ground. The tape remains one of Gettysburg's creepiest mysteries. Story 2. The Screaming House of Missouri. A house that made even priests run. Paranormal investigator Stephen LaChance moved in with his kids. But within weeks, doors slammed on their own, things levitated, and blood-curdling screams filled the night. One night, his son saw a creature crawling on the walls. Stephen fled the house and never returned. Story 3. The Chair That Rocks Itself. The home of the Behringer family hid a secret. In the nursery, a rocking chair moved by itself every night. No windows were open, no wind. One night, the family dog refused to enter the room. Cameras set up showed a shadowy figure pushing the chair. The family moved out within a week. Story 4. The Phantom Hitchhiker of Texas. Drivers have reported the same chilling event for decades. A young woman in white stands by the road. She asks for a ride home, but when they pass the cemetery, she disappears from the back seat. No doors open. Locals believe it's the spirit of a girl who died there in the 1970s. Story 5. The Poltergeist of El Paso. The Mendoza family's home became a war zone. Cabinets flew open, chairs flipped over. A force was throwing things and laughing. The family called priests, mediums, even police. All witnessed the activity. The house was eventually abandoned. Story 6. The Black-Eyed Child of Vermont. A man driving through the woods at dusk saw a child, alone, pale. He stopped to help, but when the boy looked up, his eyes were entirely black. No whites, no pupils. The man drove off, terrified. That area is now known for black-eyed children sightings. Story 7. The Ghost Nun of St. Louis. At an abandoned Catholic school, a ghost nun walks the halls. Witnesses report her praying and weeping. She's said to have died of grief. Over what? No one knows. Paranormal groups have recorded chanting and footsteps. The location is now off limits. Story 8. The Haunted Doll in Ohio. A family bought an antique doll at a yard sale. Within days, strange things began. Lights flickered. Children said the doll talked to them. One night, the doll was found sitting on the kitchen table, even though it was locked in a closet. They eventually buried it in concrete. Story 9. The Whispering Hotel Room. Guests often complain of whispering at night, but the voices come from nowhere. Phones ring with no caller. One guest recorded whispers saying, "Get out, he's watching." The room was closed for years. It recently reopened, but the whispers never stopped. Story 10. The Ghost Train of Colorado. Locals hear a train whistle at midnight, but the tracks were removed decades ago. Some hikers report seeing a full steam engine with no conductor. It vanishes before it turns the bend. Legend says it's the lost engineer who died trying to warn the town of a flood. Story 11. The Lady in Blue in New Mexico. At an old Spanish mission, witnesses have seen a woman in blue robes. She appears near the altar ruins, praying silently. Legends say she was a healer burned during the Inquisition. Her spirit returns on cold desert nights. Locals call her La Mujer Azul. Story 12. The Phone Call from the Grave. In 1983, a woman received a phone call. It was her husband. Only he had died 2 days before. His voice was clear. He told her where to find a document he had hidden. She found it, exactly where he said. The number was traced. It hadn't existed in years. Story 13. The Children of the Shadow Room. A family moved into a house with a mysterious locked room. When opened, only shadows moved inside. Their kids spoke of new friends, but no one else saw them. Shadows would stretch, laugh, vanish. Even in daylight, the family sealed the room again. Story 14. The Haunted Asylum. West Virginia. Built in 1864, the asylum housed thousands of mentally ill patients. Many died under cruel conditions. Visitors report screams, cold spots, and shadow figures. Some claim they were scratched. Tours are still offered, if you dare. Story 15. The Crying Boy in the Window. Residents noticed a child crying at the window. Every night, same time. But the apartment was empty. Neighbors tried to help, called police. Nothing. The landlord said, "That unit's been empty since the 90s. A boy died there. The image has been caught on camera, but vanishes by sunrise." Story 16. The Mirror That Whispers. A mirror passed down for generations, but every owner heard whispers. "I see you," the mirror would say. At night, faces appear, screaming without sound. A historian traced the mirror to a witch trial victim. Her soul, they say, never escaped. Story 17. The Possessed Piano. A piano plays by itself in an empty house. Always the same tune. A lullaby. The original owner lost a child in that room. Now neighbors hear the melody after midnight. The piano was removed, but the music still plays. Story 18. The Shadow on the Stairs. A family always felt watched on the staircase. One night, a photo captured a tall black figure with glowing eyes. No one was there. Kids reported cold hands grabbing their ankles. The shadow never leaves the stairs. Story 19. The Radio That Talks Back. An old radio picked up voices not from any station. A man heard his dead wife's voice. She called his name. She warned him of a car accident, and it happened the next day. The radio now only plays static, but sometimes her voice returns. Story 20. The Graveyard Shift. A security guard worked the night shift at a cemetery. He heard footsteps behind him, but no one was there. Every night at 2:47 a.m., the same figure in black walked the path. When the guard called out, it vanished. He quit the job after 2 weeks. Story 21. The Man in the Closet. A teenage girl kept saying, "There's a man in my closet." Her parents thought it was just imagination, but every night she heard breathing. One evening, her father checked and saw 2 eyes staring back. The figure vanished into thin air. They moved out the same week. Story 22. The Crash That Never Happened. Drivers at one intersection kept reporting the same thing, a horrific crash. But when help arrived, there was nothing there. No wreckage, no victims. It was later discovered a fatal crash did occur there in 1986. Story 23. The Laughing Woman of the Swamp. Locals whisper about a woman who laughs at night. Her laughter echoes through the swamp. One fisherman followed the sound. He never returned. Searchers heard the laugh, but found only his boots. Story 24. The Child on the Ceiling. A couple adopted a quiet little boy, but he never slept. One night, the mother saw him, crawling on the ceiling, upside down. He looked at her, smiled, and vanished into the attic. The family left everything behind. Story 25. The Phantom Fireman. The firehouse lost a brave firefighter in 1972. He died saving 3 children. Since then, calls come in at odd hours, from nowhere, and the fire truck engine starts by itself. Some claim they saw him on duty again, still saving lives, even in death. Story 26. The Elevator That Goes Down Too Far. Brooklyn, New York. A nurse took the elevator down, but the doors opened to a floor that didn't exist. Long, dark hallway, flickering lights. She heard whispers, saw shadows crawling. When she pressed the emergency button, the elevator returned to the lobby. She never entered it again. Story 27. The Doll That Cries Real Tears, Nashville, Tennessee. A little girl received a vintage doll. It would move its eyes and cry. Real tears. One night the girl vanished. Her voice echoed from the doll. Help me. The family burned the doll, but the crying was heard for days. Story 28. The Library Whisperer, Princeton, New Jersey. In the oldest wing of a university library, students report hearing whispers. Not in any known language. Books fall off shelves. Pages turn by themselves. One student followed the whispers and was found catatonic. The area is now sealed. Story 29. The Widow in the Window. Savannah, Georgia. An old mansion with a tragic history. The owner's wife died on their wedding night. He locked her room forever, but neighbors still see her, standing at the window, crying, every year on their anniversary. Story 30. The Final Warning. Denver, Colorado. A man dreamed of a dark figure whispering, "You have 3 days." Each night, the voice got louder. On the third night, he woke up with claw marks on his chest. He left town that morning. The house burned down that night. No one knows why. These were just 30 of countless ghost encounters across the United States. Each one real to those who lived them. Some haunt places, others never leave the people. So tonight, when the lights go out, listen closely. Maybe you're next. Which of these 30 ghost stories chilled you the most? And do you believe they were real? Comment your answer below.